Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
And Sang.
And we're gonna be doing a bit of a different video today. If you follow me on Instagram, you might know that I was recently scammed by someone out of a whole bunch of money. Sang and I are drinking tea in today's video because we are gonna be spilling the frickin' tea on this whole situation. I'm gonna be naming names, people are gonna be going to jail. Real talk, this is going to be a story time video, and I think
A cautionary
tale.
A cautionary
if you will.
tale, yeah.
Yes. First story time video on our channel, I think. So, as a lot of you probably already know, we not too long ago got back from this year's Integrity Toys convention. And, you know, it probably wasn't the greatest timing to be hunting for other things to purchase. But this past convention, it really came to my attention that I really wanted to collect the dolls from the Fashion Fairy Tale Integrity Toys convention. It's just totally my aesthetic. I love them, and I don't know if Integrity Toys will ever do a theme like that again. So one of what is probably at this point in time, like my personal number one grail dolls is Rainbow Connection Poppy Parker.
If you're not familiar with her, she's Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, or inspired by it.
I've been on the hunt for her on and off for a while. eBay listings come and go. I screwed up looking back because there were at one point in time like not that bad eBay listings for her, but at this present time you can't really find her. If you do come across her, she's really expensive. So one fateful day, Sang texts me. He sends me a picture that he found on Instagram.
I was just scouring the Integrity Toys hashtag and I ran into a listing of someone who was selling Dorothy Poppy for reasonably cheap.
$250.
Yeah.
Yeah, which at the time, that was very reasonable for her. And so he texts me this picture and he's like, oh my gosh, Max, like, you know, da-da-da. And I was like, oh my God, Sang, you bad influence, which as a preface, I totally do not obviously blame Sang for any of this. I made a bad decision, which another preface in general, this story time involves me making a really bad decision and having a huge lapse in judgment. So I am very, very, very well aware of that in hindsight. So you don't need to completely come for me in the comments. I'm already very well aware. So basically I check out this post and I come across an account that went by the name of Sophie Fies. I don't know how the hell you pronounce it, but yeah, it was basically an account owned by someone claiming to be a woman, claiming to be named Sophie. And she had like 600 something followers, and we were kind of just checking out the account. The Rainbow Connection Poppy was not the only doll she had listed. She had like a couple other dolls listed for sale. So, you know, I was mulling it over for a little bit. I was kind of checking out the account. By the way, I have screenshots of a lot of this whole situation and the conversation that followed and all that, just to kind of be cautious early on, and apparently it was the right thing to do. But yeah, so I'm gonna be showing all the screenshots that I have. What was kind of crazy about this account was that there were posts related to Integrity Toys dating back months, like I actually think months ago. Like there were like months and months prior.
Yeah, it does seem like it wasn't a personal account where she uploaded a bunch of selfies, her travels.
Yeah.
And she did have a lot of Integrity Toys content on there, but her most recent posts were her selling several dolls.
Yeah, and it was selfies of this like pretty brunette woman. It looked like she was living kind of a nice lifestyle. Like it was a lot of like, oh, I'm traveling, I'm taking selfies. So I was like, okay, she seems like a genuine fan for sure, especially because I hit her up in the DMs. I decided I was desperate for this doll, if you can't tell. So I went ahead and I sent her a DM, and you know, I told her that I might be interested in Rainbow Connection Poppy. She told me, she's like, okay, yeah, you know, she's $250 and da-da-da-da. Another thing that kind of got me thinking that this was a legitimate fan is because she was actually like, you know, this wasn't a sketch, like really quick conversation. Like she was like chit-chatting with me about the convention. Like she was saying like, oh yeah, this year's convention was really kind to Poppy fans. Like, you know, and she even asked me, she's like, oh, what were your thoughts on this convention? Like she's like, I feel like I was kind of disappointed. Like I feel like they're running out of ideas and da-da-da-da. Like she was giving me all these thoughts and all this information. So I was like, okay, I was like, she's definitely like familiar with Integrity Toys. So of course we get to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna buy it. I want this doll. We started talking about that, and she said she will only accept PayPal, and of course, and you know, I tell her that I was like, okay, well, I would prefer goods and services. She tells me that she's like, I would really prefer a personal payment. She's like, you know, just PayPal charges so many fees, and I would rather avoid it. So I understand that might be like a huge red flag to a lot of people right off the bat. But from my personal experience, that's totally happened to me before. Like, I'm part of Facebook groups where people say all the time, like, oh yeah, no, use friends and family. Like, you know, which by the way, this whole story I think is going to end up being probably a cautionary tale for PayPal related things in general, and we'll get into that. So basically, friends and family, if you are not familiar, you send a payment to anyone you want in the US, and there is no fee charged so long as you have your bank account linked. They do charge a fee if you're using a debit card.
So essentially the whole idea is you're sending money to a friend or a family member that you personally know, so PayPal does not insure or protect any of your funds doing the transfer.
Yes.
But when you do it for goods and services, it requires the
seller to pay a fee.
And they have to provide a tracking number and, you know, receipts in terms of like them sending you the product.
Yeah, it almost makes it more like the seller is operating more like a business. So there's certain things that PayPal will track, they'll be charged a fee. And it's understandable that if small-time doll collectors and toy collectors, like, they're just trying to get rid of something that they just want to use friends and family. Like I said, like, I'm part of Facebook groups with like Hairdorables, Monster High, stuff like that. And granted, Facebook groups are different because they have moderators, people can be kicked. And obviously on Facebook, you generally have to use your real name. But yeah, friends and family payments happen a lot with online toy collector transactions. So I was talking about it with Sang a little bit, and Sang was like, yeah, he's like, I looked at her account too, and I mean, she does seem like a fan. He's like, but you know, it's whether or not you trust her. He's like, yeah, that's a whole other story. So I went ahead and did it. I paid this mystery woman $250. The email that she provided to me to send the PayPal payment was uecho508@yahoo.com, which that right off the bat should have been like, who still uses Yahoo? And also the name attached to the account was Jackie, which I thought that was odd as well. I mean, you know, emails, it's like sometimes people have weird, quirky, personal, you know, tags for their emails. But so after that, you know, she and I continued to chit chat a little bit more, and I asked her, I was like, oh, when do you think you'll be able to ship it? And she said, oh yeah, tomorrow. You know, I can totally, like, I'll do it tomorrow, you know, as soon as tomorrow, which I think was what she initially said. Oh, by the way, so she follows me throughout this whole process. She follows me, which that I also thought is like, for someone who's screwing you over, like, that's kind of an unusual thing to do. So a day goes by and I have not heard from her. And I was like talking to Sang about it. I was like, so yeah, I was like, I haven't heard from her. I was like, I feel like I want to shoot her a message.
During this time also, like when we checked her Sophie's page, she went private. So that was another red flag. It was like she went private.
She went private, and another thing that was really concerning when she went private, she changed her profile picture, and her profile picture no longer had, well actually, so sorry, no. When she first went private, her profile picture was the same. So I wasn't completely super alarmed when she just went private, but her profile picture and her username were all the same, because I've done that before on other accounts, and it's like people sometimes do that, especially maybe if you're trying to sell stuff, you're like, during that period, you'll make your account public, and then when you're done doing that, you'll make it private. So I was like, all right, I was like, that's weird, but whatever. I sent her a DM like later in the evening, the next day, and I'm like, hey, I was like, I just want to ask, do you have an update on when you're gonna be able to ship Poppy? And she tells me, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. She's like, I'm in the hospital right now. And I'm like, I was like, okay. So I was immediately really concerned when she said this, specifically because I have another online friend who was sort of screwed over, scammed by someone she was trying to purchase a toy from on Facebook, and they used that exact same excuse. They were like, oh yeah, I'm in the hospital. And it actually was this whole fiasco where she got mad at my friend, and she was like, why are you even making this a big deal? Like, you know, this is my life, and I'm in the hospital, and this, your little toy doesn't matter, and blah, blah, blah. But obviously, when you pay someone money, especially when it's someone you don't know, you're like, come on. So she sends me a picture of a sprained ankle. And I tell Sang about this, and I was like, she literally DM'd me like a picture of like her, and she's like, yeah, she's like, I twisted my ankle, blah, blah, blah. And Sang tells me right off the bat, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I mean, you could totally like Google pictures of a sprained ankle or whatever. In that moment, I Googled like, especially the wording she used, she said twisted ankle, and so like I looked it up, and I was like, I didn't, you know, at least with like a quick search, I didn't see anything. There was nothing. So I was like, this is sketch, but I was like, whatever. So I was like, okay, well, I hope you're feeling better. And she tells me, she's like, yeah, but no, I can have my sister ship it out. And I was like, okay. So I think it was around this period, I received a DM from someone else who I do not know. Like, they followed me on Instagram. I'm not gonna use their name because I didn't ask them if it was okay to, so we're gonna say this other person's name is Michelle. So Michelle contacts me and she says, hey, she's like, I want to ask, like, did you buy something from Sophie? She's like, because I saw on Sophie's page that like you commented, and she even commented like, oh, sold to Hexcellence, da da da. And I was like, yeah, I did. Why? And she said, so I kind of feel like she like scammed me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? Why? What happened? And basically she explained to me that Sophie had zero communication with her at all after she paid the money. So this person, Michelle, by the way, she's not based in the United States. She's like out of the US, but she did use PayPal. She used PayPal Friends and Family. So this was very unsettling, needless to say.
Well, what her wording was, she said that she paid the Sophie girl, and she noticed that she got blocked by her.
She thought she was blocked by her, yeah.
Yeah, that her friends were able to see Sophie's page through their own personal account. Generally speaking, when you are blocked on Instagram, when you search up that person, it's as if they don't exist. But if you're on another account or a friend checks it, their page will show up still.
But I was really concerned by this other girl who was like contacting me and saying that this sketchy stuff was going on. So it might have been like 2 days at this point where I had heard nothing from Sophie. I messaged her again and I was like, hey, I was like, well, how are you feeling? Like, do you know, are you gonna ship this doll? Da da da. And she tells me, oh, I already shipped your doll. My sister already shipped it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was wondering, I was like, where's the tracking number? Which, by the way, she specified to me that she would give me tracking after she sent it. And she said, oh, she's like, I'll update you tracking on Monday.
So this was on a Thursday, I believe. So I'm very familiar with tracking and priority with the U.S. Postal Service. So generally speaking, when you send priority, it's to your location within 2 to 3 business days. So technically, Max would have received her on Saturday if it took the full 3 days to get to him. So I told him when he told me, it was like, it's bizarre if she's planning on giving you the tracking on Monday, because it should be already in your possession on Monday, so that tracking would be useless.
So Sang was actually the one who was kind of encouraging me to be like, yeah, like, no, like, he's like, you should talk to her about that more, because he's like, there's no point. He's like, it's like, if she sent it in priority, it's like, it literally would have already been there. So it's like, that's weird that she's telling you, I'll get it to you by Monday. So I went ahead and I said to her, I was like, I'm confused. I was like, this doesn't really make sense. I was like, why are you, like, you don't have it? Like, I straight up told her, I was like, if you have it now, I'd like it now. But I was like, why are you saying you can't get it to me till Monday? And she said, oh, well, she's like, my sister left it at work. So she left the slip at work. So she'll pick it up on Monday, you know, when she goes to work. At this point, I was like thinking there was like a solid possibility that I was scammed. But there was still like a small part of me that was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe she's telling the truth. And again, she was still having a dialogue with me. She was responding to me. And that was the other thing, like, usually when you think of like internet scammers, you assume like as soon as they have what they want, they vanish, they're gone. Like they're like, I have what I want, bye. You know, like they just vanished without a trace. And she wasn't doing that. She was like following me, she was having a dialogue with me. So I was like, okay, I was like, this is weird, but whatever. And so Michelle, this person who was saying she was scammed by Sophie, she told me that, oh yeah, she's like, I asked about that like when she first gave it to me, and she said like, oh yeah, that's my husband's PayPal. Like, yeah, that's why it's like not associated with my name. I next noticed that she not only set her profile to private and changed her profile picture, she changed her username from Sophie Fees to Sophie Sang H8. That sketched me out a lot. I was like, okay, this is not legit. And it's not long after that that Michelle messages me that another person contacted her. Someone from Korea was scammed by Sophie. And the scary thing about it is they did not use PayPal. They used another service. I think it was called Western Union. I'm not very familiar with it, but they said, they're like, oh yeah, they're like, it's even worse than PayPal. There's no protections at all. There's like no one I can really talk to. Here was where she was really caught red-handed. This other person who contacted Michelle said like, oh, you know, she stole all her photos from eBay, right? And I was like, no. I was like, we have been through this in the Instagram community. I was like, a long time ago, Instagram OGs will remember out there were people on, especially in the Monster High community, who were stealing photos from like Flickr and from other places on the internet and claiming them as their own. And it was this whole drama fiasco. So I went ahead and I went on eBay and I searched Rainbow Connection Poppy Parker. And it was not that hard at all. Actually, the only thing I had to revert to was I had to switch to completed sold listings, because as I said, there were not very many like at all listings of her presently on eBay. And so sure enough, it was one of the first completed listings. All of the photos were stolen from eBay. So at this point, I'm like, okay, bam, boom, like 100%, I have been scammed. This person is not who they say they are. Their name probably isn't Sophie. They might not even be a woman. It was at this point too that I was like, I would not be at all surprised if they purchased or hacked that account that they were in that had like, you know, posts dating back a really long time, you know, from Integrity. By the way, I'm going to show pictures of the account and stuff like that in this video, but if for whatever reason you happen to recognize that woman, the Sophie woman, I'm positive the person who was scamming me was not that woman. As maybe it's just like some celebrity out there that I'm not familiar with that they were posing as.
You never know. It could be her too, and she's just found a market to scam people with.
Could be,
But
could be.
yeah, I mean, obviously you shouldn't harass anyone, but
No, we are not condoning that at all in this video. And this, unfortunately, I don't believe I have screenshots of this. It's kind of hard to get screenshots of it because of what happened next. I straight up confronted her. And before I did that, I reported her Instagram account, and I took as many screenshots as I needed. It's kind of crummy actually when it comes to reporting Instagram accounts that there's so little you can do, because literally when you report an account you only have two options. It's only spam or inappropriate, and obviously it's like this situation didn't really fall into either. So I confronted her and I was like, hey, I'm gonna need you to explain to me why your photos were stolen from eBay. And I was like, I have two people who are contacting me like saying that they were scammed by you. It's becoming really obvious to me that you are not who you say you are, blah, blah, blah. I saw that she saw the DM, and within like a couple minutes after that, she blocked me. But I mean, needless to say, I was like, you don't know who I am. I was like, I have several Instagram accounts. I logged out and I reported her from other accounts. It's really interesting the way it works is when someone blocks you, it does appear as if their account doesn't exist, but the workaround to this is if you were previously talking to them in a DM conversation, the DM conversation doesn't disappear. So if you want to block them back, you can actually go back to their page through the DM conversation and block them so they cannot see your page. So that was what I did. I went to the DM conversation because it was still there, because she blocked me immediately without, you know, doing anything with the conversation, and I blocked her. At this point, I'm like scrambling, trying to figure out, I was like, okay, is there any possibility of me getting that $250 back? And I was posting about it on Instagram. They changed their username again, last I heard, to they were going by Dennis, so the username was like Dennis something, so they went from claiming they were a woman to claiming they were a man and like using the name Dennis. I contacted PayPal customer service. Something that I'm going to share with you guys is point blank right off the bat. If you are considering purchasing something online from someone and you don't have like the umbrella corporate protection of eBay or, you know, a third party that is like has these protections in place, if it is someone you do not personally know, 100% of the time, you must use goods and services. Never, ever, ever, ever use friends and family unless the recipient is actually a friend or a family member. Basically what happens when you make a friends and family payment to someone, it says this is, payments between you and someone you know. When you go to PayPal's help center page, and one of the main articles is what's the difference between friends and family or goods and services, they actually don't go into a lot of detail when it comes to friends and family. It literally, it just says send to a friend, use when sending money to a friend or family member. Basically, they don't make super, super transparent that you have 0 options to dispute, to file claims or anything for that payment if it is a friends and family payment. So basically, that money you're sending out, friends and family, you have 0 chance of getting it back. 0 chance. I don't know, maybe if you somehow can get like a lawsuit on your hands and you have the person's full real name and you can somehow prove that something illegal went down, maybe you'll have a chance. But yeah, I talked to PayPal customer service and they point blank told me, like, they were helpful in giving me a set of options, but they point blank told me, they're like, we're sorry, but like if you sent that money via friends and family, there is absolutely no way to get that money back unless the recipient decides to return it to you. And I'm like, okay, well, I was like, that's obviously not happening. But what I did do, I reported the incident to PayPal and I gave them all the information I have. The story gets a little wilder because I decided to do a Google search of that email, the uecho508@yahoo.com email, and there were actually several results online. There were results of postings from people, I think like PickDeer or something like that, of an account from someone claiming to be based in Russia. So that's the thing, is I don't know if this person was Russian, because I'm pretty sure one of their account bios that I saw was written in Russian. There was another listing that I saw where they were selling an doll for like several $100s, and they were still using the Jackie Uecho email, but this time they were going by another name, like Eoj or something like that. If you happen to come across this email, report it, run for the hills, don't trust them. Mayday, mayday. So yeah, this person was a heavily fraudulent scammer. They knew what they were doing, and they are knowledgeable on Integrity Toys, and some of the stuff dated back like a year or 2 or more. When anything problematic happens involving finances, of course, you always want to consider calling your bank, which is what I did. Hey guys, so as a quick happy update to this video, I wanted to let you guys know that in the present time, my bank worked with me and they have fully refunded me the $240-something that I was scammed out of by Sophie. So I got a full refund. I have the money back. Happy ending in that regard. Just keep in mind, whenever you guys are in financial trouble like this, always bring it up with your bank, and hopefully chances are they will work with you to solve the problem.
In the future, these are some few tips to help you keep yourself and your money safe. First of all, when you are doing a transaction with anyone online or anywhere else, make sure that they actually have the product. The best way of doing it is ask for photos. And the best way of doing that is ask them, can you please take pictures of the photo, but also include a sheet of paper or something in the photo indicating your account or your name.
Your name, yeah, today's date.
If they're not able to provide that, I mean, not all is lost, but there is something that Google and other websites offer. It's something called reverse image search. So you can upload the photo they sent you or photo they have posted, and you can Google can track back to any pictures that are similar or the exact same image that they use. So that way you can, like in Max's case, if he had done a reverse Google image search, he would have seen that those photos came from eBay. But it doesn't really help if they stole the photos personally from someone else.
Yes, and last but not least, of course, is like I said, if you're dealing with a transaction outside of eBay or a online retailer with protections, if you're using PayPal, always pay using goods and services, not friends and family.
Right. So, and if they're uncomfortable with using goods and services,
you need to walk away.
You walk away.
In most cases.
Or you offer to pay the fee. If you really want the item, you can offer to pay the fee. I believe the fee is like 3 or 5%. I think it's 5%.
I'll find it and I'll list it here.
Yeah.
But
So just calculate it into your payment and be like, hey, I'm gonna do goods and services, but I'm gonna pay the fee.
in addition to that, you actually get buyer protections from PayPal if you're paying using goods and services. So basically, you have the option of filing a claim to dispute the payment. And it actually covers a lot of different things. I'll link all this in the description if you guys want to check out PayPal buyer protection, things that it covers. But yeah, you know, and it covers a variety of things. Friends and family is dangerous if you're not doing it with actual friends and family.
Yeah, and also check their name on PayPal. If their name doesn't match up with the name they're providing you, then you have the right to ask them, why is it different?
You know, and I mean, I think in our community too, because I have met in person a lot of people, and you know, Sang has as well, like who we did meet online and who did end up being cool and trustworthy. I purchased, you know, a really amazing integrity doll from Fashion Fairy Tale from someone who I met online, I met on Instagram, and I ended up eventually meeting her in person this past con. So it's like, obviously you want to be optimistic and hope that people are who they say they are and that they are fundamentally good, but you know, when you're on the internet, you need to be really careful. On that note, hopefully you guys enjoyed my cautionary tale and learn from my mistake, because I definitely did. I wanted to make something of this experience, and I knew it would be somewhat like therapeutic for me to talk about it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you know, if any of you have experienced anything like this, I hope not, but you know, let us know in the comments and we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming after this. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.